Good evening, YouTube. My name is Hester. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're back, welcome back. Tonight I am, yes, it's evening. If you look behind me, it's pitch dark outside. Tonight I'm getting ready for a big order that I've got for fig jam and Seville marmalade and Ruby marmalade, Ruby Grapefruit marmalade. So I'll take you with me tonight just with a preparation of what we've got ready for tomorrow. So I have already got in the pots here. There you've got Seville oranges soaking in the water. You're soaking out for the pectin and obviously the flavor go into the water. Then we've got figs that's got the sugar in. They can macerate overnight and tomorrow morning we just come and stir it up, slowly heat it up and then start boiling. So we've got two pots of each of those coming up. And then on this side where the preparation is being done, we have got the Ruby Grapefruits. Now there, my friend, which is amazing to sit with me at 8 o'clock at night and help me cut stuff. She's chopping them into little pieces and there they're in a jug. And those entails there, we'll put in some water to soak out the pectin. I'll show you tomorrow morning tomorrow I'll make the video of just about the grapefruit marmalade. I'll make videos of all, but tomorrow I'll post this or finish this one and post it. And the top ends we will be soaking in water to pull out the pectin. Sandy, would you mind just showing them how we do the top and tail there? This is basically any citrus fruit. You cut the two ends off. You cut it through. You take that pith part out. And then you slice it up. Now Sandy has become very clever. She slices them up in thin slices. And then you take those slices and just make them into smaller pieces. So here we have got 4 batches of the Ruby Grapefruit cut and ready. It'll be soaking overnight. I'll explain to you what I actually do with that. I've got the water in and they will be sleeping until tomorrow morning when I will carry on with this. Good night, everyone. Good morning again. Here I've got the Ruby Grapefruit, tops and tails and pith parts like you can see there. What I'm doing here, after soaking them overnight, I'm just cooking them in the water they were soaked in to extract all the pectin out of the pith part of the marmalade, of the grapefruit. The reason why I do that is to save on using powdered bought pectin. The pectin I do use is quite high quality. I show you in the Seville marmalade video which pectin I use and how much to use and how to add it to your product. This is the top and tail ends of the Ruby Grapefruit that we're busy making the marmalade from. And I've just got to strain out the water that we boiled these in. This now goes to the compost heap. Well, not in my yard though, I did tell you earlier. And now we're going to add this to the fruit that's busy cooking. I still need to add 1 liter in each of those pots that's boiling. Let's hope we don't make a mess again today. The other day this bowl slipped out of my hand and it was a mess. Where are we? I'm just going to go for 800 for now. I can always add some more fresh water. Half a liter. Now there's a lot of debate about how much water do you add to your marmalade. I personally think that's just a personal choice. Do you like more of the gel and less of the pieces, or do you like more pieces or less of the gel? This customer prefer a bit more juice but still enough pieces. I prefer more pieces in my product. So it all depends on what your personal preferences is. This has been boiling for some time. Let's just see whether they're soft or not. They've still got a little bit to go. They've probably been boiling for how long? About 20 minutes?
Yes.
Yeah. So they've got to go a little bit more before we can carry on with that. Okay, we're getting to the pectin test. This still needs a bit to soften up a bit, but I can already do a test and see if I've got enough pectin in this. Just plain spirits. Put a little bit of spirits in a bowl. And I cool this off in the spoon a little bit. Pour it in gently. You don't want to throw it in. You gently swirl this around. See if I can get the camera more facing. Gently swirl this around, and then we pour it out on a plate. And there ain't much pectin in this one, so we will just have to add pectin again. Let's see if it's soft enough yet. Yeah. It cuts through the piece of pith and peel part very nicely. So these can to be turned off now. Give them like half a minute just to stop the boiling process. And then we'll be adding the pectin. And the sugar. Okay, Tajiri, we can start. Yeah, we can put the sugar.
Can I put this?
Yeah, just give me one here this side. In this bowl, I've got the pectin added to the last bit of sugar. If you want to see how I do that, in my Seville marmalade video, I show how to mix the pectin and where I get it and how much pectin and all those things. This one, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. throw it in one block. Stir to dissolve the sugar, and then we'll let it stand for about 5 minutes. That the pectin can dissolve as well. It takes a bit longer. And then it'll be back to the boil for about 35 to 40 minutes, and we'll be bottling. And while they're boiling, we'll be starting with the macaron. You'll have to come back for the next video if you want to see what a macaron is and what we do with them. Sugar is all dissolved, so now we're just cleaning the edges of the pots and then we're turning them on. Just for those that hasn't seen one of my other marmalade videos yet, you clean the edge of the pot to make sure you've got no sugar crystals on the side of the pot, because if you've got any sugar crystals when this starts boiling, you've got the potential of having crystallization in your end product, and you don't want that to happen. So you just clear the pots and then we'll be turning them on. If you look back at my Seville jam cooking and the fig jam cooking, which was all done today, the Seville I only had 2 pots and the fig I only had 3 pots. Now I prefer having 4 pots of the same thing, because then you can do bulk and you've got stock for a while before you have to come back to this product. Sorry about the noise in the background. That's Tandu. We're poking holes in the macaron, which I'll show you in the next video. I've done a few tests here just to show you how the progress works. That one was done about 20 minutes ago. It's starting to make little wrinkles, but not really. This one was made 5 minutes or so ago, and you can see it's making wrinkles. If I lift it, it does lift in a gel. That's at 105 degrees. This is where they are now, nicely wrinkling up and coming off in a one piece there. So that's a very nice setting point for the marmalade. I'm just going through the middle row here. That one has still got a little bit to go. And I'll show you the difference in the pots, why that one is still not ready. And then that one is also beautiful. Now, I can actually turn these ones off now. I'll stir them now to get rid of the foam. If you want to know about the foam, look at the Seville marmalade video. If you look at the pots a little bit from a distance, let me get them in like this. This first one here is a 30-liter casserole pot. It's wider, it's not as high. This is my 23-liter Bastille pot. It's what they call a stock pot, so it's more upright, so there's less surface for the jam to evaporate in the cooking process. So that's why that was the third one on the test plate, isn't ready yet. But we'll leave that one cooking while we start bottling the others. Then I've got the 27-liter Bastille pot. It is also a stock pot, but because of the bigger surface, it does evaporate fast enough. And then this is another 30-liter pot, also a big surface, so it evaporates quickly, and that gives you a quicker cook. The one disadvantage of having a smaller pot with a big batch of jam and it having to cook longer, it can turn a bit darker. Your darkness of your product is affected by a few things, but cooking longer makes it a bit darker. Exposure to light once it's in the bottle will make it dark. And then sometimes when I'm in the kitchen at 8 at night and I'm like, okay, I'm done for the day, I can't do any more, I'll turn the pots off tomorrow morning, turn them back on and boil further, and then it's usually also darker. When I do the macatan jam, I'll show you what I mean, because I did one batch like that with the macatan and they turned out a bit dark. While we're bottling the ruby marmalade now, you're going to hear a noise. This is what it is. Sorry, it's going to be in the background, but Tandiwe is busy doing the macatan. We'll show you the whole process in the macatan preserve. Oh, these are beautiful. Such a nice pink color. The easy thing about marmalade is you can just pour it. Now, the reason why I'm pouring a little bit in each jar and going full as you see, even though I've just poured into the jug, the fruit tends to stay at the top. So once I once they're all covered, we turn the marmalade around and turn it back up again.
Why do some people put the bottles upside down on the lids once the jam is in it?
I'll answer your question for you now. Some people believe that it seals better when you put it upside down. If you just think about the science, it doesn't really matter whether it's upside down or right side down once it's sealed. The secret is to have your jam at least 95 degrees. I don't like bottling under 95 degrees. And seal it immediately with a hot lid, because then as it cools down, it shrinks in and it sucks the lid in.
So what is the current temperature now on that pot of jam?
Just before I started bottling, they were at just under 100, about 99.
Okay.
And I know from experience, if I just, whoopsie, do it quickly, the last pot will still be, which reminds me, I must turn it off now. The last pot will still be very hot.
How long does it take for the pot to cook till it reaches a certain temperature to turn off
That
bottle?
depends on the product you're making. Some jams will be ready within half an hour. Some, on average, a marmalade cooks around 45 minutes.
Okay.
That little pot, like I explained earlier on, it's a stock pot, so it's higher and not wide. So it takes a little bit longer to reach the right temperature. So just, it's all dependent on a variety of factors. So if people tell you the pot you use doesn't matter, then you tell them they're talking nonsense.
Regarding your bottle lids,
Yes.
do you reuse them?
I actually do not. I do reuse the bottles. The bottles, I use vinyl stickers, so they pull off easily. But if you look, I wonder if you'll be able to see. On the inside of these lids, there's a rubber seal. And once you've used it, it makes an indentation there. If you compare that to a new lid, that little rubber has got like a rounding to it. So you know if you tighten it in, it's going to seal over the edge of the
It
jar.
suctions.
Yeah, whereas that one has got the indentation there.
Okay. How long do you have to have the bottles in the oven for sterilization?
I have them at least at 105 degrees for at least 10 minutes.
Sure.
I usually, when the jam reaches 104 degrees, it's usually ready by 107. When the jam reaches 104 degrees, I turn the oven on. It takes about 15 minutes to get to temperature, and then I know when I bottle the bottles is fine.
Is there any special cleaning materials that you use to sterilize the bottles?
The bottles I rinse in a bleach solution, a very weak bleach solution. Then I rinse them in just clean hot water. And then I put them on the trays and put them in the oven. So for kitchen surfaces and everything like that, yes, I use a kitchen surface disinfectant. For sterilization while we're bottling, I boil everything to have it sterile, and then you just work clean. As far as my hands are concerned, you've got one or two choices. Gloves, which does give me a rash, so I prefer not having the gloves on, or hand sanitizer, which these days are easily available.
But using rubber gloves on a hot bottle is not very viable.
No, I do. If Tandiwe closes the bottle, she just uses her bare hands.
Well, she's very, very brave.
No, she's just got tough hands. I use the silicone mat if I close the rubbers. The pink, of course, because I love pink. I use a silicone rubber when I close jams because my hands can't take the heat the way Tandiwe's does.
Okay,
No?
so may I ask, there is now 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 bottles on this tray. How many liters of preserve have you made to fill this tray of bottles?
Say again, how many?
Liters have you boiled, have you made to fill up 20 bottles of jam
Oh my
or
goodness.
marmalade?
I'm not good at maths. The bottles has got 375 milliliters in it.
Okay. We will eventually do the maths.
And Tandiwe is finishing off the last few jars. I still don't know how she does this with her bare hands. Now try and open that, you can't get it open.
No, exactly.
Yeah. But also she's got that grip on it. She's just,
So the bottles are super tight.
Yeah.
No leakage.
now you did ask about turning bottles upside
Yeah.
down. Now if you look at this, it's, you can see the gel part is at the bottom and the fruit at the top. Now that happens with a marmalade. So all we do is we do turn it on the head for a little bit, about 10 minutes, for the fruit to disperse evenly, and then you turn them back and then you've got the marmalade. That is a day's work done. Thank you for spending the day in the kitchen with me. In the end today we did the Ruby Grapefruit, the fig jam, and the Seville marmalade. I will be making a video separately of each of these. So if you're interested in one of the others that's not on this video, please have a look at the other video. And join me next time to get some more sweetness in the jars. Thank you.